Welcome to Garden Roots. I want to show you something the fertilizer industry absolutely does not want to end up on your screen. Because if this gets out, and I mean really gets out, they stand to lose billions, not millions, billions. Before you go anywhere, and I mean before you even reach for your phone, I need you to stay until number 7. Because number 7 is the one thing that turns dead, hard, lifeless soil into something that smells like rain and grows like God meant it to. And I promise you, you already have it. You threw it away this morning. Stay with me. My name is David, and I've been growing food in this garden for over 20 years. I've had failures that would make you cry, tomatoes that rotted before they ripened, roses that looked like they were giving up on life. Soil so compacted and dead it could have been used to pave a road. And I want to be honest with you right up front. I used to believe the same things you probably believe, that if you want good plants, you buy good fertilizer, the bag, the bottle, the pellets. The thing on the shelf at the garden center that costs $18 and promises a miracle. But here's what changed for me. I started reading not gardening blogs, not influencer posts, I mean actual published soil science. Peer-reviewed research from universities, agronomists, real evidence, and what I found. It was honestly a little disturbing. So today, in a spirit of honest, plain truth, I'm going to walk you through what the research actually says. No sales pitch, no product recommendation. No affiliate link at the end of this. Just the truth about what's in your kitchen, what works, what doesn't, and one technique at the very end that I have never seen in any mainstream gardening book, not one. And I've got a shelf full of them. Let's dig in. Here's what most of us were taught. Banana peels, put them in the soil, potassium for your plants, eggshells. Crush them up, calcium to stop blossom end rot on your tomatoes. Coffee grounds, sprinkle them around your roses, they love the acidity. Sounds perfect, sounds natural, sounds free. Now here's the question nobody thinks to ask, says who? Because when you actually go to the science, not YouTube, not Pinterest, I mean published agronomic science, the story gets complicated very fast. A 2024 review published in the journal Agriculture, one of the most rigorous horticultural journals on Earth, looked at 126 separate studies on banana peel-based fertilizers. 126. And here's what they found. Banana peels are indeed rich in potassium, phosphate, calcium, and magnesium. That part is absolutely true. But here's the catch they buried in paragraph 4. When you bury a raw banana peel in your soil or soak it in water for 24 hours and pour that on your roses, those nutrients are locked. Chemically locked inside complex organic structures. Your plant can't get to them. It's like putting a steak dinner behind a locked glass door and telling a hungry person, there's your meal, the food is there, but they can't eat it. And I'll circle back to what actually unlocks those nutrients, because it's sitting in your kitchen right now, but first I need to tell you about the eggshell myth. Because this one broke my heart a little. A master gardener in Utah, someone who's been composting for 60 years, who runs a 6-acre private garden, ran a 5-year study. She buried eggshells in her compost, came back after a year. After 5 years, you know what she found? The inner skin was gone, but the outer shell, the calcium carbonate, was completely intact. No decomposition, none. And the University of Hawaii's College of Tropical Agriculture confirmed this in their research. They stated plainly. Crushed eggshells applied alone as a soil amendment contain calcium in an insoluble form, calcium carbonate, which is not available for plant uptake. Now I hear you saying, but I've been doing this for years and I understand. Here's the thing, the eggshells aren't hurting your plants. They do add organic material that earthworms appreciate. But if you're counting on them to stop blossom end rot on your tomatoes, you need to know something bigger. University of Minnesota Extension made this plain. Blossom end rot is often not a calcium shortage in the soil at all. It's a water uptake problem. Your plant can't move the calcium it already has into the fruit because the roots are stressed, too dry, too wet, too compacted. Compacted soil is the silent killer here. And that's something we're going to fix today, but I want to keep our loop open because I promised you the thing that actually works, the unlock, and we're almost there. Hold on. Coffee grounds. Let's keep moving because this one is quick. The myth: coffee grounds acidify your soil, so acid-loving plants like blueberries love them. University of Minnesota Extension again, they tested this. And coffee grounds contain compounds that do feed healthy soil bacteria. That part is real. But do they lower pH? No significant evidence they do. And what's worse, apply too thick a layer, and you create a barrier that actually repels water. In compacted soil, which is exactly the problem many of you are dealing with, that's the last thing you need. So we've got banana peels that lock nutrients, eggshells that don't break down, coffee grounds that don't acidify. Now tell me, is the internet giving you the full picture? The fertilizer industry, and I want to be fair here because I'm not here to be someone's enemy, they sell you something that absolutely works. Synthetic fertilizer gets nutrients to your plant fast. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, NPK, it's precise, it's immediate, and your plants will green up quickly. So what's the secret they don't want you to know? It's not that synthetic fertilizer doesn't work, it's what it costs, not money, but soil. Here's what happens beneath the surface, below what you can see. Your soil, healthy living soil, contains billions of microorganisms per teaspoon: bacteria, fungi, nematodes. These tiny creatures are the engine of your garden. They break down organic matter and release nutrients. They create pathways for water. They even communicate with your plant roots. Science calls this the rhizosphere. It's sometimes called nature's internet. When you rely heavily on synthetic chemical fertilizers, especially nitrogen-based ones, over time, that underground ecosystem takes damage. The chemistry disrupts the balance. The bacteria that do the unlocking of nutrients, the ones your plants depend on, decline, and when they decline, your soil compacts. It loses its sponge quality. Water runs off instead of soaking in, and then what do you buy? More fertilizer because the plants aren't getting what they need. Do you see the loop? You buy the bag, the soil gets weaker. The plant gets dependent, you buy a bigger bag. The industry profits from a soil problem that their product helped create. Proverbs 11:18 says, "The wicked earn deceptive wages, but those who plant righteousness reap a sure reward." I'm not calling anyone wicked today. But I will say there is a sure reward waiting for the gardener who does things the right way, and it starts with the unlock I've been holding back. All right, here we go. This is what you stayed for. The 2024 Agriculture Journal review, the one that looked at 126 studies, found something beautiful buried in all that data. When banana peels were properly processed, not just buried raw, not just soaked in water, but composted or converted into dried powder or biochar, they did significantly improve plant growth parameters. Germination rates, root development, yield, the key word is processed. And the University of Hawaii research confirmed the same thing for eggshells. When eggshells are mixed with a weak acid, like plain white vinegar, the chemical reaction converts that locked calcium carbonate into a plant-available form. The shell fizzes, that's the calcium being released, being set free for your plant roots. And published composting science, including research from Science Direct. 2023 tells us that when kitchen waste reaches the thermophilic phase of composting, that's a temperature of 104 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit inside your pile, thermophilic bacteria take over and break down complex organic matter into bioavailable nutrients. Nutrients your soil microbes can actually use, nutrients your plants can actually absorb. That's the whole secret, not that kitchen scraps don't work. It's that raw application fails and processing is everything. Now here are the 3 things you can do this week. Simple, no degree required, just patience and a little elbow grease. Step 1, the vinegar eggshell unlock. Save your eggshells. Crush them as fine as you can, the finer the better, research confirms this. Then place them in a jar and pour in enough plain white vinegar to cover them. You'll see it fizz and bubble. That's calcium carbonate converting to calcium acetate, which is water-soluble and plant-ready. Let it sit for 24-48 hours. Dilute it 1 part liquid to 10 parts water. Pour it around the base of your tomatoes, peppers, or any plant showing signs of stress. This is what the University of Hawaii researchers described as the correct unlocking method. Step 2. The fermented banana peel soak. Don't bury banana peels raw. Instead, chop them small, pack into a jar, cover with water, add a small pinch of sugar or a tiny piece of old fruit to kickstart fermentation. Seal loosely and leave for 72 hours in a warm spot. What you end up with is a fermented liquid rich in bioavailable potassium. Dilute 1 cup to 1 gallon of water. Feed your flowering plants and fruiting vegetables every 2 weeks. A 2013 study from the University of Southeastern Philippines confirmed that fermented banana peel as a foliar fertilizer measurably improved potassium levels in crops. Your roses, your tomatoes, your squash, they'll notice. Step 3. The hot corner compost. This is the game changer for compacted soil. You don't need a fancy bin. Find a corner of your yard. Build a pile. 1 part green material, kitchen scraps, fresh grass clippings, and 25 parts brown material, dry leaves, cardboard, dried stems. Research from multiple composting studies confirms this 25:1 brown to green ratio allows thermophilic bacteria to thrive and reach those high temperatures that unlock nutrients. Turn it every 5 days. Within 3-4 weeks, it reaches active heat. Within 45-60 days, you have living, breathing compost that rebuilds compacted soil from the inside out. It's not magic, it's microbiology. But it feels like a miracle. These 3 steps alone, if you do nothing else, will change what's happening in your garden, not because I said so. Because the published science says so. I want to say something to you directly, especially if you've been gardening for a long time and your soil just isn't responding the way it used to. You are not doing it wrong, you were given wrong information. There's a difference. The people who watch this channel, I know you didn't give up when the soil got hard. You kept planting when things didn't grow. You're the kind of person who saves seeds, who notices when the earthworms are gone, who talks to their tomatoes. I'm serious. You understand something that most people have forgotten, that the ground beneath your feet is alive. It has always been alive, you just need to remind it. Deuteronomy 11:14 promises, I will send rain on your land in its season, that you may gather in your grain, your wine, and your oil. The rain does its part. Our part is to receive it in soil that's ready, living soil, soil that can hold water, cycle nutrients, and bring forth fruit. The fertilizer industry wants you to believe the shortcut is in the bag. But you already know where real things come from roots, from seed, from patience, from doing it right. That's not old-fashioned, that's wisdom. Okay. I promised you a bonus technique that you will not find in mainstream gardening books. I checked, I have 14 gardening books on my shelf, it's not in any of them. And it's so simple it almost feels too simple. I call it the Lactobacillus soil drench. Here's what it is. Lactobacillus is a beneficial bacteria, the same family of bacteria in plain live culture yogurt. In Korean natural farming, a system developed by Cho Hankyu that's been studied by the University of Hawaii CTAHR department, farmers use a liquid culture of lactobacillus bacteria as a soil inoculant. They call it lactic acid bacteria serum, but you don't need to order anything. Here's how to make a simplified version at home. Take 1 cup of cooked, cooled white rice, put it in a jar. Cover with a piece of cloth, not a lid, and leave it in a shaded corner of your kitchen or garden shed for 5-7 days. You'll see a white, cloudy layer form on top. That's wild lactobacillus collecting from the air, the same culture of bacteria that your great-grandmother fermented vegetables with for centuries. Now here's the step most people miss. You add milk, not plant milk, plain whole cow's milk or goat's milk. Fill a larger jar and add just 1 part of that cloudy rice water to 10 parts of milk. Leave it for another 5-7 days. It will separate into a yellowish whey liquid and curds. Strain it through a cloth. That yellow liquid is your lab serum. Dilute it 1 tablespoon per liter of water. Pour it directly onto your compacted, struggling soil. What does it do? Lactobacillus bacteria, according to research from the University of Hawaii's Sustainable Agriculture Program, suppress harmful pathogenic bacteria in soil, accelerate organic matter decomposition, and produce lactic acid, which helps break down compaction. It primes the soil microbiome. It tells your sleeping soil that it's time to wake up. For senior gardeners dealing with hard, dead soil, this is the gentlest, most profound reset you can give your ground. It doesn't burn, it doesn't shock, it restores. Do it once a month. Rotate with your fermented banana peel soak. Watch what happens to your earthworm count by summer's end. That is the thing that's not in the books. Before I let you go, I want to ask you one question, not for me, for you. Look at your garden right now. Look at your soil. Is it giving back what you're putting into it? If the answer is no, don't buy another bag before you try what I showed you today. Give your soil 60 days with the vinegar eggshell unlock, the fermented peel soak, and the hot corner compost. 60 days, then come back and tell me what you see. Here is your real call to action, not a link, not a subscribe button guilt trip. Your CTA is a jar and a banana peel. Start there, tonight, before you throw that peel away. Put it in a jar with water and let it begin working. That's it, one small act of faith in the ground beneath you. And if this video helped you, if something here confirmed something you always suspected but couldn't name, share it with your fellow gardener. The one who still plants even when the soil is stubborn, the one who prays over their beds in spring, they need to see this. Down in the comments, I want to hear this. What does your soil look like right now? Hard and cracked, lifeless, or are you already seeing worms come back? Tell me. Every single one of you who comments, I read it. You're not shouting into the void here. This is a community. And if you want to go deeper, our next video is going to cover the one soil test you can do at home in 90 seconds that tells you more than a $40 kit from the garden store. You're going to want to see that. Until then, keep your hands in the dirt, keep your roots deep, and remember, the one who created the seed also created the soil to receive it. God bless your garden, friends. I'll see you in the next one.